Hi folks, it's Jay. Every July, when visitors come to Western New York to see the private gardens on our garden walks, they often ask me where to begin. I tell them about a father who transformed his backyard into something straight out of a storybook. Not for anyone else, but for his daughter. No one could have imagined, from a simple act of father's love, a garden on a small footprint can lead to something exceptional. In July 2023, I brought horticulturist Jason Reeves visiting from Tennessee to see this garden during Garden Walk Buffalo. A year later, I returned with writer Terry Spade from Washington, D.C. Each visit offered a chance to tell the story of a father's extraordinary journey. First, I will take you back to 2023, when the gardener showed Jason his garden, undeterred by the pouring rain. Then in the second half, when I returned in 2024, I witnessed something subtle yet deeply moving under the gentle sunshine. I have heard people call this garden the best kept secret in our city, but I see it differently. It is one of many gardens where ordinary people have written their life stories, starting with leaves and petals, but growing into something truly remarkable. What makes our garden special isn't just the flowers or the design. There is something more, something extend beyond one's backyard, and that's what I want to show you. Now let's first join Jason Reeves at Jim Charlier's garden.
And we are at the fabulous garden of
Jim Charlier.
All right. And you're well known for your Harry Potter garden.
Yeah, I started a Harry Potter garden, probably 15 years ago when my daughter was young. I wanted to get her interested in gardening. So we'd go out to all the nurseries and the plant stores and we'd buy the weirdest, silliest looking plants. And we'd come back and we'd plant them and give them the names from the Harry Potter books.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
That's great.
It didn't work. She's 25 and could care less about gardening.
But did she enjoy reading?
Still, very much so,
well,
yeah. So that's one thing she got from the books.
Plus, yeah. So we got a lot of cool stuff going on here. We've got the shack in front of us here and a lot of exciting things in the garden. Tell us a little bit about it.
The shed I designed and built myself to match the house. The house is 1897 Dutch colonial, so I kind of stole every design detail I could from the house, but I stole things from the house too. All the windows are from the house. They were from the attic. Cool. And window box here is actually a bifold closet door that was in our bathroom. We got it out in a renovation, so that's a closet door. And a lot of the stuff inside the shed is all repurposed stuff.
Cool. So the Shrieking Shack.
It's a Harry Potter reference.
Well, let's go in. One exciting thing you've got coming out is this book. Tell us about the book.
The book came to me because of that garden. If you Google Harry Potter garden on Google, basically my garden comes up. And I'd written another book here. And also I've had a long time garden blog where I do a lot of DIY design projects for gardens. The publisher is Insight Editions in California, and they approached me to do a garden project book. So that's what it is. It's sort of a garden crafts book.
Yeah, and so here's an example.
Yeah, that is Professor Trelawney's divination classroom. So it's a crystal ball with a little table and chairs made out of champagne cork caps. They're called mucilés.
Cool.
And a little crystal ball inside of that. It's obviously an open terrarium for succulents.
Well, let's go out in the garden. Along the side of the Shrieking Shack here, some really cool features in the Harry Potter garden. Love what you've done with the different signs.
These signs, and I did this with my daughter so long ago. It took a lot of research at that time because there weren't so many websites about Harry Potter and such. So we had to scour through books.
That's cool. This one, I really like this one. The flutter bush. This kind of bush quivers and shakes.
Yeah, it's all fictional plants. It's funny, we get a lot of, let's say, people who are not familiar with the movies. We call them muggles come here and they think they're real plants. They ask me, where did you get the gillyweed?
That's awesome. Maybe you should patent your own line of plants.
The signpost is one of the projects that's in the book.
I love this little rain chain, if you want to call it that. I'm assuming you created this all yourself.
Yeah, that's a rain chain I did over one winter years ago, and I've had that for years now.
I love some of your signage.
Well, some of these things are there so I don't have to say the same thing over and over again. This weekend we'll get probably, in a normal year, we would get like 3,000 people through the garden.
Thousands of people will be visiting over 300 gardens today throughout Buffalo. Is that correct?
321 gardens.
Wow, that is awesome.
Yeah, there's no way you can do them all at once, so people tend to come back year after year after year.
And you created the glass pieces here?
I buy them each year. We, the organization that puts on Garden Walk Buffalo, we also do a garden art sale, and every year I try to buy one more.
Cool. This little terrarium here.
That is Professor Sprout's herbology classroom.
Wow. And the piece just to the right here, that's cool.
Yeah, Mad Eye Moody. He drank a polyjuice potion from a flask, so that's our flask
Awesome.
terrarium.
And then I love your water feature here on the side of your fence.
People will be able to appreciate it in the rain today.
Yes.
I built that. There's an artist who was very popular in the 50s and 60s, Louise Nevelson. You'll find her large-scale black painted sculptures in our museum here, the Albright Knox, but also in the Museum of Modern Art and throughout the world, really. So I took her black idea, but I used all junk from the garage and then just spray painted everything black. Threw in a couple fountains to make it fancier than hers. And then these poles, I started making these for myself, and so many people were interested in them, I started selling them. So in the winters, for 2 winters, I made like 100, I've made over 200 of them.
Because I've seen these in the gardens we've been visiting the last couple of days.
Because they bought them from me.
Yeah, so that's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's nice kind of have my creativity thrown in other people's gardens. Yeah.
Wow. And a great collection of plants as well, in containers as well as planted in the ground. Love your color echo here with the Hostin flower with the fish.
A photographer was here last week and told me I have 100 planters. I've never counted them, but you know, about a third are house plants that go inside, a third go in the basement under grow lights in the winter, and about a third are perennials that go in the shed, more to protect the planters, not the plant.
We are in zone 5.
We're actually
6?
downtown Buffalo, zone 6.
Okay, zone
Surrounding
6.
areas are probably 5,
Okay.
maybe even a 4 here.
Okay.
But in downtown Buffalo, because of the moderating effect of Lake Erie, which is basically walking distance from here. That's our collection of posters from Garden Walk Buffalo over the years.
In the bottom right corner is the one
Bottom right
this year,
corner is-
beautiful
yep,
with the
yep.
Shasta daisy.
Yep.
This past winter, just before Christmas, you had how much snow?
Oh my God. We don't like to talk about it. Yeah, we get hit by a powerful storm every, well, a storm like that, probably every 40 years.
Wow.
But around here, every 8 to 9 years.
And you had 6-7 feet.
Because of the snow drifts,
Yes.
yeah.
And I like the use of the mirrors in the garden.
That's another thing from a bathroom renovation. I got the big mirror from that. We love the idea of mirrors just because, you know, it's a blank wall otherwise. It gives a lot of dimension, and having that arbor forward of it to be able to plant it and do the vines.
So tell us a little bit about the vines. What is this?
That one is a Dutchman's pipe.
Ristolochia?
Yeah, it's got spectacular heart-shaped leaves. That's another question. I actually did a little sign for that because people ask about that one all the time. And then this one is a 5-leaf Akevia.
Akevia, yep.
And then it's interspersed with a little bit of honeysuckle and some clematis.
Nice.
And then this is a marble and granite scrap carpet I made. Garden Walk once had a sponsor that was, they put in countertops and things like that, a marble and granite company.
Sure.
And they said, hey, all you gardeners, come to our dumpster and take out what you want every Wednesday before they come and take it away. And so my daughter and I went, we chose all these pieces, we sort of designed it in their parking lot, brought it here, and then I laid it in.
Wow, that's awesome. So repurposing and recycling. And then I love what you've done with the allium heads.
Yeah, the rain's going to beat them up a little bit, but they're just spray painted alliums. You know, usually I put them in a vase or something like that, but I think it makes people take a second look at this parterre garden we've got here because now it's more colorful.
I've seen the same person's work in several
Yeah.
gardens of pottery. Tell us a little bit about that.
Vendor from our garden art sale, and he sells these. You buy them by the individual pieces, so you can spend a lot of money and get a really tall
So
one.
it's like the ladies that wear the beads.
Exactly.
They buy the beads.
Exactly.
You can add to
Yeah.
it. So I understand there's like a PVC pipe in the middle, and you can.
It's a metal pipe in
Okay,
the
metal
middle,
pipe, okay.
and it goes right down into a concrete base. And in the concrete base, there's a hole that goes up
Yep.
through.
Yeah, it's really cool. Well, it's
Yeah.
great to have this garden art conjunction with
Yeah.
the the Buffalo Garden Walk.
Well, we
so-
travel a lot, and we did this parterre garden based on Villandry, the world's most beautiful vegetable garden in the Loire Valley. And then this is actually basically a knee-high espaliered apple tree. And we got that idea from going to Giverny, Monet's garden.
Oh, wow.
He's got obviously his is well more than 100 years.
Front is beautiful. As you come in, it greets you. I take it you don't drive through here anymore.
We do. Just, yeah. Don't look at the scratches on my car. The one thing we do in the front here is we sort of let this go and do whatever it wants. Reseed itself. We just keep the weeds down, mulch it before company's coming over. But it's kind of a free-for-all. You know, it does what it wants.
Is this Kentucky coffee tree?
Yes, it is.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Don't see these every day.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's a slow grower, and it leaves out very late in the season.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I love the front of your house. I love the window boxes.
The thing we do with the baskets and the window boxes is we don't really have flowers. Coleus gives it most of its color.
Sure.
And then, you know, all the drippy stuff and the different shades of green and silvers. The only flowers up there are the autumn fuchsias, which instead of just dropping down, they sort of spread out,
Sure.
which gives the baskets a little bit different look to them.
Yeah, so nice combination of sweet potato vine, coleus. I see purple heart secretia
Yep.
in there, the asparagus fern, the silver falls dichondra, and a little bit of creeping Charlie.
Yeah.
In there as well.
Actually, the
so-
creeping Charlie I've had for so many years, I didn't have to buy any this year.
It's going to be a great day, even though it's raining a little bit. It'll just refresh the earth.
It doesn't really stop the gardeners.
That's right.
The rain did not stop the gardeners or the visitors at all. Tens of thousands of visitors visited the gardens in western New York. And Jason Reeves visited more than 150 private gardens over his 4-day stay. Meeting visitors like this was deeply meaningful. Their genuine passion for experiencing gardens and connecting with gardeners was truly inspiring. It inspired me to explore and visit as many gardens as possible. I also enjoy following Jason's garden adventures, both in his own backyard and through his travels, on his Facebook page, Jason Reeves in the Garden. 1 year later, I returned to Jim's garden during Garden Walk Buffalo, this time with writer Terry Spade, who had traveled from Washington, D.C. She spent a whole week to exploring as many gardens as possible during Western New York's Garden Walk season. I will be sharing the story of our journey in the future. This time, it was a beautiful day filled with sunshines, and what made it even more beautiful was seeing Jim's daughter there, helping with her father's open day, greeting and guiding visitors. Jim said that his daughter wasn't particularly drawn to gardening, even though he initially started his garden in the hopes of inspiring her interest. But when I looked around, I saw a different picture. My visits to Jim's garden also made me reflect on my own journey. I had no interest in gardening until I was in my 30s, let alone dedicating a large portion of my spare time to documenting gardens and the story of the people who nurture them. It is something very different from what my parents had hoped and planned for me. As both someone's child and now a parent myself, I understand the deep hope we carry for our children's future. Yet more often than not, they carve their own paths rather than following the one we envisioned for them as parents. Still, I believe that every adventure we embarked on with our children becomes a seed in their mind, one that will always remain wisdom. And one day, those seeds will germinate, perhaps not exactly as we imagined, but they will grow into something meaningful in ways we have always hoped for. I recall Robert Polk Harrison's essay on gardening, in which he describes gardening as the vocation of care. He argues that gardening at its core is an act of nurturing, an expression of our deep human need to tend to and cultivate life. And this extends beyond the caring for plants. We care for our surroundings, our homes, the community that we live in, and perhaps most importantly, our children. Jim mentioned that his daughter cares for special needs children, and sometimes works with children with disabilities and autism. I think this is another form of the vocation of care. Much like gardening, it requires patience, attentiveness, and a deep commitment to nurturing life. Perhaps the seeds a parents plant, whether in a garden or in the hearts of their children, take root in different ways. But they will always grow into something beautiful in their own time.